Hello everyone, welcome to the final part where you will learn how to create a boss fight level and launch ammo at your enemies. This might take a little while, but it's worth your time. Let's become masters of the game. Shall we create a timer that notifies the player of the time remaining to collect as much ammo as possible? To achieve this, we'll use a canvas with world render mode and set it up as I am currently doing. To count down from 20 to 0, we can create a simple script that counts every X seconds. To do that, open the whole-manager.cs file and write this simple script. If interested in exploring the project, it can be found on GitHub. This script is a function named timer that takes a parameter for the timer duration. First, a length of time is set for a variable. It decreases by 1 in a loop until it becomes 0. It displays the remaining time on a label and waits for 1 second between each loop iteration using yield return new wait for seconds real time. The timer works fine, but the layer modifier game object has a small issue. It should get bigger as the whole does. To fix this, make it a child of the whole game object so it can grow along with it. As you may have noticed, I made some changes to the scene by adding a few shotgun bullets. This was done to provide more variety in the bullet types. However, to maintain the size of the whole game object, when loading the boss fight level, it is necessary to store its vector size as a variable. I will define a serializable class named wholeSizeClass with a public vector tree field named size. Then I will create an instance of a class called wholeObject for storing data related to the size of a whole object in the game. The class allows for easy serialization and deserialization, making it useful for saving and loading data between game sessions. To access the data from the size variable, which is a vector type, it must first be converted into a JSON string using the toJSON method. This JSON string can then be utilized for several purposes, including transmission over network or storage in a file. Essentially, using the toJSON method for the JSonUtility class will serialize the whole size class object into a JSON string and then store it in the setToJSON variable, which is a string type. Let's run this script and expand the whole size. We must save the updated dimensions. We must retrieve the data from the whole size class variable by deserializing the JSON string. To fix this error, it's important to make sure that you've created the size key string before restoring any data. So we'll need to write a condition for it. Perfect, now let's make the boss fight scene. I will copy the current scene and change a few things. Like the original game, the scene will start with an intro where the camera is at a different angle and the boss fight title is shown. To do so, I will use another virtual camera to make the transition between cameras. In order to handle the various tasks I mentioned, we can create a new script called Game Manager. This script will handle resizing the hole, managing the cameras, and controlling the hole's forward movement. If we modify the start method to a numerator, we can take advantage of the timing to activate cameras at a specific moment. I have added a character to the project and applied various animations to it using Mixamo. In case you're unfamiliar with the process, I recommend watching this video. Now let's proceed by adding an animator component to the character and setting up the animation clips in a specific order. Firstly, the intro animation of the boss will run, followed by an idle state until we initiate an attack. Once the move variable, which is a boolean type, becomes active, the clip of walking will run. My suggestion would be to switch the animation type to humanoid so that an avatar can be added. This will allow us to adjust the character's position and rotation through an animation clip. As you can see, the character just jumps up in a path that isn't exactly forward. To fix this, simply enable the root motion option. I am happy with the boss's jumping position. The next thing is to create a health bar for it. I plan to utilize a slider. To ensure the boss's movements are properly tracked, I will implement an additional script that will move the slider bar as the boss progresses toward the hold position. Let's return to the level scene. Currently, after the countdown reaches 0, the boss fight level does not load. To fix this, we need to first add the boss fight level to the build window. Then, we can open the holdmanager.cs file and add the scene manager.loadScene method to the timer function. However, this may not be the most efficient way to load another scene. It works well in this case. To speed up the code checking process, I have temporarily reduced the countdown timer to 5 seconds. Everything seems to be working perfectly. I have a question. How can we determine which types of bullets are collected by the whole and need to be offered during the boss fight level? To do this, we can easily check the name of each bullet type and categorize them accordingly, saving them in a prefab key. In order to use ammo, we must assign a designated button for each type. First, let's include the buttons on the boss fight UI canvas. I've used an AI image generator to create icons for both bullet types. At the moment, we only have 2 types of bullets, which I will add to the bullets button array. Before showing the buttons, it's essential to check what type of bullet is available and how many have been collected. Then display them clearly to the user. There seems to be a problem with the collected bullets. Currently, the hole only detects regular bullets. We need to address this issue first. It's important not to make any typing errors, as this can prevent the conditions from functioning properly. The other issue is that we can't find out how many bullets were collected. Let's fix that too. At the moment, firing bullets is not possible. To enable this, we must first convert each bullet to a prefab and then develop a firing method. This method instantiates a new bullet of the type specified by the ammo type parameter at a random X position within a specified range, and at the same Y and Z position as the fireplace object. It then gets the rigid body component of the newly created object and adds a forward force in the direction of the current transform. It also sets the velocity of the object to a random value within a specified range on the y-axis. Finally, if the move boolean parameter in the animation component of the boss object is not already set to true, it sets it to true and the walk animation will run. Create separate functions for regular and shotgun bullets, specifying the bullet type for the fire the ammo function. Also, this sphere will be the position where each bullet will instantiate. The firing could use improvement. We can work on refiring it later. However, I first intend to implement a ragdoll effect on the boss, which will provide a more realistic sense of death. To properly assemble the ragdoll, simply add each required part to the designated window. Right now, the ragdoll isn't working because of the animation controller, but if we turn off the animation controller, it looks like the character's not even alive anymore. To inflict damage on the boss, we can create a new script named damage for each bullet. This script will decrease the value of the slider bar, which represents the boss's health. If the value of the slider bar reaches 0, it indicates that the boss is no longer alive. To fix this error, need to add the ground tag and assign it to the surface. Before colliding with the boss, the bullets become inactive. This is due to the collider on the whole game object, which is no longer necessary. The next problem is the damage script can't access the slider bar to change its value. To ensure that the bullets do not collide with each other, I will create a new layer and uncheck their collision properties in the Physics tab. We can change the script a little bit more to fire more than a bullet at the same time. If you enjoyed the video, please consider showing your support by giving it a thumbs up and subscribing for more content. Your thoughts and feedback are always welcome in the comment section below. Thank you for your love and support.